Very good evening from Kirkmanshire Lane. It's Bellevue against Peterborough in the Sky Sports Elite League. Tonight these two sides both outside the playoff zone by some distance at this stage. They both need the points urgently. The Aces beaten at home on 3 occasions so far. The Panthers won away win, and that was in sensational circumstances at Poole a few weeks ago, but they were dropped to defeat at Ipswich last Thursday disappointingly when captain Hans Andersen had a bad night, and he'll be looking to recover his form this evening against an Aces side who return more towards full strength tonight. They're not there yet. Joe Screen is back after just over a week out with concussion. He missed yesterday's comfortable defeat down at Eastbourne, and during that meeting at Eastbourne, Nick Simmons picked up a knock in his second ride, so he's replaced by the number 8 Robert Chazak. It's still rider replacement for Lucas Jankowski. For the Panthers, who have changed their side a bit from earlier in the campaign, but are making their first visit to Kirkmanshire Lane this season, they have a gap at number 7 because Henrik Moller walked out just over a month ago. The number 8 Ty Proctor isn't here either, and coming in as a guest is Andrew Tully, currently going well in the Premier League for Edinburgh, and this is his debut at Elite League level. So for the Aces, Jason Crump, the British Grand Prix champion after a fantastic performance at Millennium Stadium and 4 consecutive maximums here at Kirkmanshire Lane. He rides at number 1, at 2 is rider replacement for Lucas Jankowski, Charlie Gjedde at 3, at number 4 Billy Forsberg, at 5 Joe Screen, Robert Chazak rides at 6, and at 7 it is Jonas Rawn. And for the Panthers, Hans Andersen rides at 1, Henning Bager at 2, and number 3 is Kenneth Bjerre, the former Bellevue man, just back from a broken leg. Number 4 is Claus Vissing, 5 Danny King, Morton Rizaire at 6, and 7 the guest reserve is Andrew Tully. It's Bellevue against Peterborough in the Elite League, and over to your commentator Luke Jameson.
The riders up at tapes for heat number 1, and off gate number 1 in yellow for the Peterborough Panthers, it's Henning Bager. Gate number 2 in blue for the Bellevue Aces is Robert Cezak. Robert coming in to replace Nick Simmons, who's had a tumble in the week. Gate number 3 in green for the Peterborough Panthers is Hans Andersen, and off the outside for the Bellevue Aces, Jason Crump, winner of the 2008 British Speedway Grand Prix down at the Millennium Stadium in Cardiff. Crumpy, absolutely fantastic. They're putting 22 points on the board in his Speedway Grand Prix season, closing the gap between himself and Nicky Pedersen to 10 points. He'll be looking for another great performance tonight. Good start from the rider in green, Hans Andersen, giving Crump a big shove there, and Crump not having it his own way from gate number 4 in heat number 1 there. Hans Andersen just riding his own line, Crumpy trying to go for the same line. Crump finds himself currently in 3rd place with Henning Bager in yellow now, just getting the attentions of Jason Crump. Crump locks the bike up and tries to cut back up the inside, but he's really got something of a traffic jam ahead of himself at the moment. Hans Andersen is pretty much away, a set fair to take this one. Crump taking no prisoners there and blasting underneath Henning Bager there, running out wide to pick up the dirt, cuts across the front of Bager again, but Bager making a very tidy line in 4th place through the 1st and 2nd bends and putting Crump under a little bit of pressure. Crump still not able to get away from Henning Bager, who's currently in 4th place, but I would imagine Jason Crump now has taken the decision to protect the rider in blue, Robert Cezak, in 2nd place. Give Robert a little bit of confidence around this track, just holding things up, keeping Bager at bay. Crump takes 3rd place, but a fantastic ride from the rider in green. Out front, Hans Andersen, a really solid first bend, great away from the tapes from gate number 3 there from Andersen, and with Crump on his outside, Hans had the right to take his own line, which he duly did. His back wheel gave Crump a bit of a knock, and Crumpy ran wide and had to just do the chasing from there. 3 points to the Aces, 3 to the Panthers in heat number 1. Moving on now to heat number 2, and off the inside from gate number 1 in red for the Bellevue Aces is Robert Cezak. Robert having 2 on the trot, having come out in his first race to take the rider replacement ride for the injured Lucas Jankowski. Robert goes from gate number 1 in red for the Aces. Gate number 2 in green for the Peterborough Panthers is Morton Rizaire. Gate number 3 in blue for the Bellevue Aces is Jonas Rawn, and off the outside in yellow, coming in at number 7 is Andrew Tully. Good start from the rider in green for the Peterborough Panthers. Morton Rizaire being chased down by Robert Cezak in red in 2nd place currently for the Bellevue Aces, but Andrew Tully flying up the inside there and taking Robert Cezak wide. Robert lucky enough to just keep himself sorted, but Andrew Tully jumping back on the bike with carrying far too much speed into the 3rd turn and just pops over, perhaps to apologise to Robert Cezak there. Robert's bike just stalling. Robert doing a full 360 spin. The riders just coming back up to tapes now for the rerun of heat number 2. Eunice Rawn taking his gate position in gate number 3. Morten Reisiger, another young Danish rider, will take his place from gate number 2. Off the inside in red is Robert Cizak. Robert just having to come in together with Andrew Tully through the 3rd and 4th bends there. Didn't see the exclusion light, but there is no Andrew Tully, so the yellow exclusion light must have been on. Here we go then with the second running of heat number 2. Unsatisfactory start there. The rider in green seemingly just taking a little nibble at the start there, attempting to jump the start seemingly, and don't think he touched the tapes at the moment, but the starting marshal just looking to see whether anybody needs to be given a warning, but I think the rider in green there, Morten Reisiger, just a little bit eager to get away. So the riders back up at tapes for the 3rd time of asking as we attempt to get heat number 2 of this Elite League A fixture between the 151 Bellevue Aces and the Peterborough Muscle Fitness Panthers underway. Team manager Trevor Swales of the Peterborough Panthers will no doubt be having a quiet word with Andrew Tully just to get him to calm down. And also the rider in green for the Panthers in this one, Morten Reisiger, clearly fairly keen to get underway. Robert Cizak in red for the Aces, Morten Reisiger in green for the Panthers, and from gate number 3 in blue, Eunice Rawn goes for the Bellevue Aces. Again, a good start from all 3 riders, but Morten Reisiger just managing to get himself into 1st place again, and Reisiger making good progress down the back straight with a gap of 6 to 7 bike lengths between himself and Robert Cizak in red in 2nd place for the Bellevue Aces. Eunice Rawn just trailing off a little bit in 3rd place at the moment, but Morten Reisiger has ridden this Kirky Lane track on a number of occasions and has, it has to be said, always looked fairly comfortable around Kirkham Lane. Peterborough, big fast track there that Morten's been riding in the 2008 season most recently for the Panthers, but also having ridden in previous seasons for Coventry. So he's been here at Kirky Lane a few times and he's making it look fairly comfortable here, just lifting a little bit as he comes down the home straight, but Morten Reisiger having it pretty much all his own way in this one. The riders in 2nd and 3rd place for the Bellevue Aces, Robert Cizak and Eunice Rawn. No answer to the pace of Morten Reisiger in heat number 2 here at Kirkham Lane. Three points for Morten Reisiger then and the Peterborough Panthers in heat number 2. Morten going back to the pits the short way. 3 points to the Panthers and 3 to the Aces in heat number 2. The progressive scores now 6 apiece after 2 heats of racing here at Kirkham Lane. The riders arriving up at tapes for heat number 3, and in this one off the inside from gate number 1 for the Peterborough Panthers, it's Kenneth Bjerre. Gate number 2 in blue for the Bellevue Aces is Billy Forsberg. Gate number 3 in yellow for the Peterborough Panthers is Claus Vissing, and off the outside in red for the Bellevue Aces, it's Charlie Gjedde. So if I'm not mistaken, with Claus Vissing also a young Danish rider, unless I've got that one wrong. Kenneth Bjerre, Claus Vissing and Charlie Gjedde all riding in this one as Danish riders under the Danish authority, and Kenneth Bjerre, having ridden here at Bellevue earlier in the first part of the first 10 years of the 21st century, shall we say. Kenneth Bjerre with 21st century medical technology holding together that right femur of his, an injury that he first received at the end of the 2005 season riding in Denmark, and again a nasty break just about 6 weeks ago, and really amazing to see Kenneth back on the bike so soon. Here we go then with heat number 3. Billy Forsberg there just finding himself with a serious dose of the gate 2 jitters with the rider from gate number 2 in the previous heat, Morten Reisiger, receiving a warning for just jumping and being a little bit overeager at the start, and seemingly Billy Forsberg affected by the spectre of Morten Reisiger in that one and bursting through the tapes. The riders back up to tapes for the rerun of heat number 3, and the news from the pits is that Billy Forsberg will go off the 15-metre mark. Billy just having to take his position from gate number 4, so he's on the fence 15 metres back from the starting tapes, just out of shot. He'll go from gate number 4 in blue. And the red light comes on, which would indicate that the referee is not quite happy with something. Not quite sure what that is. Various fans on the terraces seem to have another good idea of what the problem is, and finally we see that it's the fact that the gate from the safety fence has still been left open. So good job the Bellevue fans are paying attention, otherwise we could have been really here till about 10:30 tomorrow morning before we got this meeting underway. So there we go then, the riders for the rerun of heat number 3. From gate number 1 in green, it's Kenneth Bjerre. Gate number 2 in red now is Charlie Gjedde for the Bellevue Aces. Gate number 3 in yellow for the Peterborough Panthers is Claus Vissing. And off the outside, just out of shot in blue from gate number 4, 15 metres back against the safety fence, is Billy Forsberg for the Aces. James rise pretty quickly there, and Charlie Gjedde gets an absolute flying start. Whether Charlie will be able to slow this race down a little bit remains to be seen. Not in Charlie's nature to go slow, he just wants to pile around as fast as possible, but as it is, Billy Forsberg in blue already making an impression on the gap between himself and the rider in third place at the moment, Kenneth Bager, and Billy getting good drive off the second bend at the back there of the second lap and starting to put Kenneth Bager under some pressure, but Kenneth Bager will try and keep it together with his team partner in yellow, Claus Vissing for the Peterborough Panthers, and just rides slightly behind Claus. And as Kenneth lifts there, Billy Forsberg dives up the inside and takes third place. Unfortunate for Kenneth Bager there as he just lifted down the back straight. Had to give way to Billy Forsberg, who kept the throttle pinned until he was past Kenneth. And a good clean pass from Billy Forsberg there. And with just about half a lap to go, it looks like a heat advantage for the Bellevue Aces in heat number 3. A great job from the man in red there, Charlie Gjedde, but a fantastic performance from the man in blue for the Aces, Billy Forsberg, to get himself off 15 metres and into third place. So a heat advantage for the Aces in that one. A good bit of work from Claus Vissing to stay in second place. But the riders go back to the pits the short way. 4 points to the Aces and 2 to the Panthers in heat number 3. The scores now, the Bellevue Aces on 10, the Peterborough Panthers 8. Heat number 4, and the riders just up at tapes now for the running of the 4th race of the night, and hopefully this one will get away fairly cleanly. From the inside, from gate number 1 in yellow for the Peterborough Panthers is Andrew Tully. Gate number 2 in blue for the Bellevue Aces is Eunice Ron. Gate number 3 in green for the Peterborough Panthers is Danny King, and off the outside is Joe Screen in red for the Aces. Actually looks like the rider in red is Robert Caesar, maybe coming in to take a reserve ride for Eunice Ron there, a reserve replacement ride, with Chris Morton electing to switch the reserves around, but Joe Screen coming around the outside of the rider in blue there, Robert Caesar. So Robert Caesar in second place for the Bellevue Aces at the moment, being chased down by the rider in green, Danny King, and Andrew Tully in yellow at the back for the Peterborough Panthers, looking pretty quick and getting a good run off the third bend as Danny King tried to go around the outside of Robert Caesar. Andrew Tully having a go at getting up the inside and really locking that bike up nice and tightly on the curb and carrying some good speed there to put Robert Caesar under more pressure. And with just a lap to go, Joe Screen looking comfortable out front, but Andrew put Tully again, putting Robert Caesar on lots of pressure going through the first and second bends. Caesar will need to keep it clamped on the inside. He locks up. That breaks the momentum of Andrew Tully. Cizak lifts as he comes off the 4th bend, but a great ride from Andrew Tully there to put Robert Cizak under pressure for a lot of laps, and the two riders from the Premier League just congratulating one another. That was some good, clean racing and no tumbles, but 3 points to Joe Screen for the win and 2 points to Robert Cizak in second place. That means the Bellevue Aces 5-1 to the Aces in heat number 4. That puts the Bellevue Aces on 15 and the Peterborough Panthers on 9. Riders up at tapes for heat number 5, and off the inside in this one, Charlie Gjedde goes from gate number 1 in red for the Bellevue Aces. Gate number 2 in yellow for the Peterborough Panthers is Henning Bager. Gate number 3 in blue for the Bellevue Aces is Billy Forsberg, and off the outside from gate number 4 in green for the Peterborough Panthers is Hans Andersen. Hans having a fairly tough night at the Millennium Stadium in Cardiff on Saturday the 28th of June 2008. That spectacular loop coming down the home straight, I think at the end of the first, maybe second lap, and The bike really got away from Hans, looped up and then span round on him, and in the super slow-mo camera there, you just saw Hans looking over his left shoulder as the bike came down, and the rider in third place just managing to avoid hitting him, but he'll be looking to have a much cleaner ride tonight, having taken the 3 points in his first ride of the night. Good start from Hans Andersen in green there, getting the best of the other riders from gate number 4. A bit of contact at the back there as the rider in blue just coming under a little pressure from Henning Bager in yellow there. Billy Forsberg being caught up, but Billy Forsberg has himself established in third place now as he tries to chase down his team partner Charlie Gjedde in red for the Bellevue Aces. But the man out front at the moment, having it pretty much all his own way, the Great Dane Hans Andersen, having taken 3 points in his first ride from Jason Crump, giving Crump that little love tap sort of through the first turn and pushing Crump wide. Hans Andersen clearly looking determined, and this is a track that he really likes here at Kirky Lane. Always goes very well around the tight turns of Kirkenshoe Lane, despite the fact that the Peterborough Panthers home track is a big, wide circuit at Alderton that pretty much is ridden flat out. But Hans Andersen looking comfortable here, and he takes the 3 points for the win for the Peterborough Panthers in heat number 5. Hans Andersen patting the machinery there. Always good to see the riders having a little bit of a relationship with the old bike there, because it really does the business. When it does the business, it pulls them round and makes life a lot easier for them. If you're riding something that doesn't want to agree with you, it can make life much more difficult. But Hans Andersen giving the bike the plaudits it deserves. Great performance from the pair of Andersen and his machinery there. He takes the 3 points for the win for the Peterborough Panthers in that one. 3 points apiece between the Panthers and the Aces in heat number 5. Bellevue Aces on 18, the Peterborough Panthers on 12. Heat number 6, and off the inside from gate number 1 for the Peterborough Panthers is Danny King. Gate number 2 in red for the Bellevue Aces is Jason Crump. Gate number 3 in yellow for the Peterborough Panthers is Morten Reisiger, and just coming around now to take the rider replacement ride for the injured Lucas Jankowski is Billy Forsberg. Billy Forsberg off gate number 4 for the Aces in heat number 6. Morten Reisiger, another young Danish rider, having suffered serious injury in recent seasons, and that's given him a bit of a problem. Started the 2004 season with Coventry, as I said earlier, and really burst onto the scene. Created quite a name for himself in his first season racing in the UK, and then suffered that serious leg injury in 2007. Back to Brandon for the start of 2007, but seemed to do something negative to Morten's confidence, and he struggled to find his form again. Was dropped from the side before going back down to the south coast with Eastbourne, and then brought back up to Swindon in a swap that involved Oliver Allen. But Morten looking a little bit more comfortable at the moment, and again making a very good start with Jason Crump to his left. Morten making an even start with Crump and getting some fantastic speed there, and had it been a lesser man than Jason Crump in red in first place, I think Morten Reisiger would have considered a bit more of a blast around the outside. But Billy Forsberg in blue at the moment just getting a run on the home straight to try and get some pressure onto Morten Reisiger. Morten all the way down the back straight on one wheel as he picks up grip coming off the second bend, but the rider in green now trying to follow home his team partner as Danny King gets around the outside of the rider in blue there, Billy Forsberg and Morten Reisiger. Again, Reisiger lifting at the back in as he comes off the second bend, but now Billy Forsberg electing to run wide, but just straightens up in the middle of the third and fourth bends, and that means he loses something of his momentum as he tries to get things back under control again. But as it is at the moment, it looks like it's going to be a 3-all, and Jason Crump in red there, he'll take the win in first place ahead of Danny King in second in green, and the man in yellow there, Morten Reisiger, in yellow in third place. Billy Forsberg just missing out there at the back, but a great race that one with a lot of passing going on, and 3 riders, 3 abreast there down the back straight. But the man of the moment for the Bellevue Aces, having taken that big win at the Millennium Stadium in the 2008 Speedway Grand Prix, Jason Crump picking up 3 points for his English club, the Bellevue Aces. In number 7 and off the inside from gate number 1 for the Bellevue Aces is Joe Screen. Gate number 2 in green for the Peterborough Panthers is Kenneth Bjerre. Gate number 3 in blue, a reserve change. The change made in heat number 4 with Robert Cezak coming in to replace Eunice Ron in heat number 4. Now the switch working the other way with Eunice Ron coming in to replace Robert Cezak's programmed ride in heat number 7. Claus Vissing going off the outside from gate number 4 in yellow for the Peterborough Panthers in this one. And Chris Morton, the Bellevue team manager, has been just switching the reserves around in different meetings just to try and make the most of the point scoring opportunities. A good jump from the outside there from Claus Vissing in yellow, but Kenneth Bjerre in green really shooting across, missing the turn there and trying to avoid Joe Screen, but Kenneth getting a good run down the outside to pass Screen into the third bend there, and he gets himself established in first place. Now the thing with Kenneth Bjerre always has been at this track, if he can get himself out front and get fresh air and daylight in front of him, he can be very, very quick and very, very comfortable despite having that metalwork in his right femur holding everything together. Less chance of having a problem and getting himself into some sort of scrape, because Kenneth Bjerre definitely does not want to have another crash with that metalwork in his leg. Could cause him serious, potentially really career-ending injuries there, so we wouldn't wish that on Kenneth Bjerre. He'll be much happier to be out front, well out of the way of everybody else and just riding his own race. And Kenneth Bjerre almost half a straight ahead of Joe Screen in second place. The young Dane takes the 3 points for the Peterborough Panthers. Screen in second, Claus Vissing in yellow in third, and at the back the rider in blue there, Eunice Ron. 3 Danes again in that one, but the man of the moment in green for the Peterborough Panthers, Kenneth Bjerre, picking up the 3 points, and Joe Screen in second place. So 4 points to the Panthers and 2 to the Bellevue Aces in heat number 7. The Aces on 23, the Panthers on 19 after 7 heats. Riders just coming up to tapes now for heat number 8. Morten Reisiger just arriving as the third of the riders to arrive at the tapes, with Joe Screen last but by no means least. Screeny having 2 on the trot, having gone out in heat number 7 and taken second place behind Kenneth Bjerre. Referee just giving Joe a little bit of extra time to get himself organised, ready for his next race of the evening. So the lineup for heat number 8, off the inside in blue, Robert Cezak comes in as a reserve replacement, switching with Eunice Ron again. He goes from gate number 1 in blue for the Bellevue Aces. Gate number 2 in yellow for the Peterborough Panthers is Andrew Tully. Gate number 3 in red, a rider replacement ride for the injured Lucas Jankowski. Joe Screen coming in to take that one, and the rider in green from gate number 4, Morten Reisiger, coming in to replace Henning Bager. Henning having had 2 zeros in his first 2 rides of the night, so Henning struggling to find any form so far tonight, and Trevor Swales electing to make the change. Again, a good start from the Peterborough pairing, but the red light comes on once again with Joe Screen and Andrew Tully heading down the back straight. A fresh 2 minutes coming on, and the riders make their way back around to the tapes for the second time of asking in heat number 8. Riders straight back up to tapes for heat number 8, and the starting marshal Ron Shaw there just having a word with the rider in yellow there, Andrew Tully. Andrew doing very well in the Premier League this year. As you can see, the St Andrew's cross on his right arm, denoting his Scottish heritage. And as I said, I think a little bit earlier, Andrew having done fairly well, second place in the Bellevue Junior Championship in 2005, I think behind Benji Compton, and then again a podium finish in 2006. On that occasion, Andrew not able to take the win, but here we go again then with heat number 8. From gate number 1 in blue is Robert Cezak, gate number 2 in yellow is Andrew Tully, gate number 3 in red is Joe Screen, and off the outside Morten Reisiger from gate number 4 in green. The rider in yellow excluded, Andrew Tully, must have been moving at the start. I have to admit that my concentration was taken up between the battle between Joe Screen and Morten Reisiger in gates 3 and 4. They were pretty tight together as they went down the fence, but Andrew Tully maybe having a problem with his clutch, but it would seem that Andrew has been excluded from this race. But back on the starting grid, the rider in green, Morten Reisiger, electing to go from gate number 2. I don't think I recall ever having seen a rider change his gate position when his team partner has been excluded. So that's a new one on me, but Morten Reisiger certainly with his wits about him, preferring to go off gate number 2, where he's had a little bit more success earlier in the evening. His first ride of the night, Morten went from gate number 2 in heat number 2, and he got the 3 points for the win there. So looking to go off the same starting spot by the looks of things, but Morten just having a word with Ron Shaw there, and Ron telling Morten that he couldn't go from the position that he was going to go in, as that was too close to gate number 3. But Andrew Tully having been put back in off gate number 4, that's the reason why Morten Reisiger's been moved across to gate number 2, and probably why Hans Andersen came running out to tell him. So good start from the rider in green there, Morten Reisiger, but Joe Screen doing enough to get over the top of Morten there, and Joe just about getting on the gas as Morten lifts down the back straight. Joe gets himself across Morten Reisiger into first place, coming out of the into the third band, and the rider in red there, blue, sorry, is Robert Cesar, just trying to hunt down Morten Reisiger, but pushing Morten wide, and that meant that Morten picked up good drive around the second bend to get himself established into second place and begin chasing down Joe Screen yet again. But Robert Cesar piling on the pressure to Morten Reisiger, and again Morten just picking up good drive as he comes off the exit of the second bend and just gets himself sorted out. Again Robert locking up there, and Andrew Tully having to slow the bike down himself in 4th place at the back, but it's still the man out front at the moment in red is Joe Screen, looking comfortable with just about half a lap to go to take the 3 points for the win for the Bellevue Aces, with Morten Reisiger in second place ahead of the man in blue, Robert Cesar. Joe Screen takes the win, Reisiger second, Cesar third, and last but not least at the back, the man in yellow, Andrew Tully, chasing down Robert Cesar all the way. But the man of the moment in that one, Joe Screen, electing to take the short way back to the pits. Screeny picking up 3 points for the win. A 4-2 to the Bellevue Aces in heat number 8. That puts the Aces on 27 and the Peterborough Panthers on 21. Heat number 9, and off the inside from gate number 1 is Billy Forsberg for the Bellevue Aces. Gate number 2 in green is Danny King for the Peterborough Panthers. Gate number 3 in red for the Bellevue Aces is Charlie Yader, and off the outside in yellow, having 2 rides on the trot. Extra time for that man from the referee, Graham Flint, tonight. Morten Reisiger goes from the outside gate in heat number 9. The current score, the Bellevue Aces 6 ahead still on 27, and the Peterborough Panthers trailing on 21 with just 7 heats to go. This one promises to be an interesting one. All the riders sitting still at the start that time, but the Bellevue Aces just about managing to find themselves on a 5-1 as they come out of the second bend and down the back straight with the rider in green, Danny King, doing the chasing for the Peterborough Panthers. Time for Billy Forsberg in blue just to look over his right shoulder as he comes over the start-finish line just to assess the progress of Danny King in third place. But at the moment, Charlie Yader out front in red for the Aces. Just time for a quick look back. He sees that the Peterborough Panthers pair of Danny King in third place in green and Claus Vissing, Morten Reisiger in fourth at the moment, are not putting the team partner of Charlie Yader under too much pressure at the moment. Charlie just getting out of shape there, coming off the fourth bend, and he locks up. That allows Billy Forsberg to just catch Charlie up a little bit. So Billy looking over his right shoulder there, and Danny King taking a tear off in third place. Just about a quarter of a lap to go. King locks up. Charlie Yader around a clean fourth bend. Waves to Billy Forsberg there. Charlie obviously apologising for the slight mistake he made on the fourth bend of the third lap. But Billy Forsberg was well ahead of the game on that one, and he had it all sorted out. And no problems for Billy or Charlie as a result of that slight error from Charlie there. But a big 5-1 from the Bellevue Aces, most importantly in heat number 9. That now puts the Aces well clear of the Peterborough Panthers, and we could see Kenneth Bjerre on a tactical ride maybe in heat number 10. But 3 points for the win from Charlie Yader. Billy Forsberg taking 2 in second place. 5 points to the Bellevue Aces, puts them on 32 with the Peterborough Panthers on 22. The Aces 10 ahead with 9 heats gone. Heat number 10, and off the inside from gate number 1 in blue, Robert Cesar goes for the Bellevue Aces in the rider replacement ride. Gate number 2 in yellow is Claus Vissing for the Peterborough Panthers. Gate number 3 in red for the Bellevue Aces is Jason Crump, and understandably Kenneth Bjerre in green from gate number 4 for the Peterborough Panthers. Trevor Swales not making the mistake of forgetting about Mr. Crump. in this one like yours truly did, and no chance of Trevor risking wasting that black and white double point scoring helmet in a heat with Jason Crump on the form that he's in at the moment. One would imagine it's most likely that we'll see Hans Andersen donning the black and white helmet colour in heat number 11, where he will likely meet Joe Screen, Robert Cizak for the Bellevue Aces. But here we go with heat number 10. Good start from Jason Crump in red from gate number 3 to get himself into first place. Robert Cizak in blue in second, but just locking up slightly coming off the second bend, but carrying extra speed into the third turn there, but coming under pressure from the rider in yellow with the red body colours there, Claus Vissing. Vissing running wide there and just having to scrub the speed off in the exit of the second bend. But again, Robert Cizak nice and tidy around the mid-track line. Kenneth Bjerre having a problem at the back, he locks up. The rider in yellow, Claus Vissing, riding a slightly wider line to give Kenneth Bjerre some room on the inside, maybe just electing to try and get his back wheel into that cushion of dirt there that's just appearing slightly wider, but the wonder wheel spreading the dirt fairly evenly. But you can see that very slick line on the inside as Robert Cizak rides the slicker line through the first and second bends, but it's certainly working for him. And at the moment it looks like the Bellevue Aces are going to take 2 5-1s on the trot in heat 9 and 10. The Bellevue Aces picking up another 5-1 there with Jason Crump doing the business to take the 3 points, but a great performance from his team partner Robert Cizak there, and he gets a good pat on the back from Jason Crump. Crumpy seriously pleased with the performance of Robert Cizak then, because as you can see, Kenneth Bjerre, no slouch around Kirkham-Zoom Lane, having ridden here for quite a few seasons with the Bellevue Aces before making the switch down to Peterborough. Jason Crump clearly pleased with the performance of Robert Cizak, as are the Bellevue Aces fans. And Robert makes his way back to the pits. Jason Crump just electing to come back and have a quick look at the starting position for his ride in heat number 13, and Crumpy going from gate number 1 in that heat. So just having a quick look at the starting position there for his ride in heat number 13. But the Aces again a 5-1 in heat number 10. Bellevue Aces now on 37 points with the Peterborough Panthers trailing on 23. Riders up at tapes for heat number 11 now, and as predicted, the man in the black and white helmet colour from gate number 1, Hans Andersen, will be scoring double points for the Peterborough Panthers. Anything that Hans scores having finished in front of an opposition rider will be doubled up, so Hans will be looking to take the win and claw back 6 points for the Panthers at the moment, but the Panthers trailing on 14 with just 5 heats remaining, so it's quite a tall order. Even if they managed to get an 8-1 in this one, the Bellevue Aces would then be on 38 with the Peterborough Panthers on 31, so still back to a 6-point lead for the Aces. So the Panthers with quite a job on their hands if they want to try and get something from this meeting and take the points, 3 points that are on offer for an away win. But the lineup for heat number 11, from gate number 1 in black and white is Hans Andersen, gate 2 in red is Joe Screen, gate 3 in yellow is Henning Bager, and off the outside in blue is Robert Cizak. Good start from Joe Screen and Robert Cizak there, but Hans Andersen doing enough from gate number 1 to get himself comfortably established in first place. The rider in third at the moment behind Bellevue's Joe Screen in red. In second place is Henning Bager. Henning having had 2 rides so far tonight in heat number 1 and then again in heat number 5, and not having posted any points on the board so far, but Henning looking like he's managed to sort out whatever problems he was having, and now trying to chase down Joe Screen with just 2 laps remaining for Henning to try and make an impression on Joe Screen if he wants to get that A1. But Henning lifts coming off the second bend there and has to get out of the throttle, putting his left leg out to try and counterbalance the bike that was trying to head towards the fence. But Hans Andersen in black and white out front for the Peterborough Panthers with just about half a lap to go between him and the 6 points for the win in the black and white helmet colour. Hans Andersen pops a wheelie, he takes the 6 points to the pits, and as ever, Hans always got his sense of humour, even if he is doing 60 mile an hour on one wheel. Robert Cizak just crossing the line in 4th place, had some sort of mechanical difficulties coming off the second bend on the final lap, slowed quite considerably, but 6 points for Hans Andersen and 1 point for Henning Bager, so 7 points to the Peterborough Panthers and 2 to the Bellevue Aces in heat number 11. Now the progressive scores, the Aces on 39, the Panthers on 30 with 5 to go. Heat 12, and off the inside from gate number 1 in yellow, Morten Reisiger goes for the Peterborough Panthers. Morten just taking a turn, coming back up to the tapes now, as the rider in red, Charlie Gjedde, also electing to take a bit of a turn and just adjust all the little fixtures of the goggles and helmet strap. Just get a bit of air under those goggles. It is a quite warm night here at Kirkham Lane. Charlie Gjedde just coming back up to tapes now. Gate number 3 in green for the Peterborough Panthers is Kenneth Bjerre, and off the outside in blue for the Bellevue Aces, Eunice Rawn goes from gate number 4 in heat number 12. The Bellevue Aces on 39, 9 points ahead of the Panthers on 30 currently, with 4 heats to go, and the Panthers will need a 5-1 from this one if they're to have much of a chance of trying to pull this one back and take the 3 points for the away win. But the Aces looking pretty comfortable so far tonight, with Hans Andersen the only rider who's really looking like he's got the measure of the entire Aces lineup. Good start from the rider in red for the Bellevue Aces, Charlie Gjedde, getting himself to the first turn, just slightly ahead of the man in yellow, Morten Reisiger, currently in third place with his team partner in green, Kenneth Bager, just coming around the outside of Morten now, but Morten just holds on to it to go into the first turn in second place on the second lap, and Bager just coming under a little bit of pressure from his fellow Danish rider, not Morten Reisiger, the man at the back in blue there was Eunice Rawn. Packing up at the back now, but Charlie Gjedde picking up the momentum for the Bellevue Aces in this one and carrying the Aces flag, and Charlie looking like he's going to, barring mechanical problems with just a lap to go, take the 3 points for the Bellevue Aces. And all the riders in this one, just occurred to me that I think all the riders in this race, in fact, Danish, so it's a big Danish faction for heat number 12, and Charlie Gjedde, the main Dane in that one, with Morten Reisiger in yellow picking up the points for second place ahead of Kenneth Bjerre in third. And as I said earlier, with that injury, Kenneth Bjerre riding with the metalwork in his leg, and if he's not getting out front, perhaps just taking the notion that caution is the better part of valor, he goes back to the pits with 1 point for the Panthers. But the man in first place for the Bellevue Aces, Charlie Gjedde in red. Charlie waving to the fans here, having again taken a heat win for the Aces. Just 3 heat wins under his belt so far for Charlie Gjedde, and he goes back to the pits. The Bellevue Aces taking 3 points, the Peterborough Panthers taking 3 points in heat number 12. The Aces now on 42, the Panthers on 33 with 3 to go. Heat 13, and off the inside from gate number 1 in red for the Bellevue Aces is Jason Crump. Gate number 2 in green for the Peterborough Panthers is Hans Andersen. Gate number 3 in blue for the Bellevue Aces is Joe Screen, and off the outside in yellow for the Panthers, it's Danny King from gate number 4. 2 Brits on the outside in this one, with an Australian from gate number 1 and another Dane going from gate number 2 in the form of Hans Andersen. Hans being one of few riders to beat Jason Crump around this Kirkham Lane circuit in 2008. Over the past 4 to 5 weeks, Crumpy really finding his form after having struggled a little bit with his gating here at Bellevue in the early part of the season in March. That could have been something to do with the fact that gate number 4 was providing a real advantage with the stock car pole, leaving that soft spot on gate number 4 up by the fence, and that really providing some jet propelled start for the rider off gate number 4. But Crumpy now gating pretty well, but Hans Andersen getting the better of Crump in heat number 1, and no doubt Jason will be looking for revenge in this one, and with the slight advantage of having the inside gate of the inside of Hans Andersen, Hans is going to need a pretty rapid start here from gate number 2 in this one. It's probably all going to be about Crump and Andersen in this one. And here we go then, but Andersen again making a fantastic start to drop the bike over the front of Jason Crump, and a good start from the rider in yellow for the Peterborough Panthers there, Danny King. Danny getting himself into first place, going around the outside of Hans Andersen. Hans locking the bike up on the inside now. Can the Peterborough Panthers team ride for a big 5-1? That will put them back in this meeting with a chance of taking the 3 points for the win. And at the moment, Danny King looking very, very quick outside of Hans Andersen. King just locks up, and the Peterborough riders coming together there. King just rolling off the throttle now. King runs wide and locks up, and then takes a nasty tumble on the first bend. Danny King, on the second bend, picks himself up. Unfortunate for King there, just couldn't quite maintain that pace for the required 4 laps, so that leaves Hans Andersen to pick it up for the Peterborough Panthers out front with Jason Crump trying to chase him down. Crump luffs coming off the second bend of the 4th lap of heat number 13, but Hans Andersen doing enough to take the 3 points away from Jason Crump. Again, a great start from Hans Andersen out of gate 2, getting the bike across Jason Crump into the first turn, and Crump no answer to the pace of Hans Andersen, but salutes Hans Andersen's performance. Both riders electing to take the short way back to the pits. Unfortunate for Danny King, just locked up on the 4th bend of the 2nd lap and then ran wide into the first turn and just came a cropper. But 3 points to the Peterborough Panthers and 3 points to the Aces in heat number 13. The Aces on 45, the Panthers on 36. So the riders at tapes for heat number 14, and in green from gate number 1 is Claus Vissing, gate number 2 is Robert Cesar, gate number 3 Andrew Tully and Billy Forsberg off the outside for the Aces. The Aces managed to gate just about behind the rider in green, Claus Vissing. Claus definitely having his gating boots on tonight and really getting away from the start pretty well, but now the Aces in the form of Billy Forsberg in red and the rider in blue, Robert Cesar, just trying to chase down the man in green out front, Claus Vissing for the Peterborough Panthers. But Claus has looked pretty quick all night, despite not taking a heat win so far. He still looked fairly comfortable, and in this one Claus Vissing now coming under some more pressure from Billy Forsberg, but the track just starting to slicken off a little bit in the 1st and 2nd bends. A bit more grip available on the 3rd and 4th bends, but Claus Vissing running a very, very tidy line mid-track there, and Billy Forsberg in red electing to try and cut back up the inside, but Claus Vissing keeping it pretty tidy in green there, and with just half a lap to go, it looks like heat number 14 is going to be another share of the spoils, with the Peterborough Panthers taking 3 points in the form of the man in green, Claus Vissing, and Billy Forsberg and Robert Cesar just trying to slow down there, almost getting in each other's way. But the man out front in green doing the business for the Peterborough Panthers. Great ride from Claus Vissing there, managed to get away from the start and get himself into first place coming off the 2nd bend, under a little bit of pressure from Billy Forsberg for a while, but Claus pops a wheelie to celebrate his first heat win of the night, and he goes back to the pits having picked up 3 points for the Peterborough Panthers in his 4th and final ride of the night. The Peterborough Panthers taking 3 points in heat number 14, and the Bellevue Aces taking 3. The progressive scores now, the Aces on 48, the meeting is in the bag for them, with the Peterborough Panthers on 39. Riders just coming up to tapes now for the nominated final race of the night, heat number 15. And from gate number 1 in red for the Bellevue Aces, Charlie Gjedde. Gate number 2 in green for the Peterborough Panthers is Hans Andersen. Gate number 3 in blue for the Bellevue Aces is Jason Crump. And just taking a turn out of shot in yellow from gate number 4 for the Panthers is Morten Reisiger. And as I said earlier, Morten picking up that injury in the beginning of his career in the Elite League down at Coventry and having some problems there, but coming back slowly but surely from that injury, and may have had a difficult time in 2007, but eventually finding his way to the Peterborough Panthers, and with Hans Andersen, his fellow Dane, as a team captain, that can't be doing Morten Reisiger's progress too much harm. And good to see a reserve riding at number 6 actually finding himself in heat number 15 in the nominated ride, so that's an indication of just how well Morten Reisiger is performing at the moment for the Peterborough Panthers. And 3 Danes and an Australian in this one. Jason Crump, the only Dane, the only non-Danish rider to go in heat number 15 of this meeting here at Kirkham-Zoom Lane. The Bellevue Aces have the points for the home win. This one about individual points and personal pride. A very even start. Charlie Gjedde pushes Hans Andersen wide there in through the first turn, and Charlie Gjedde now coming under pressure from Andersen down the back straight, but Jason Crump will be looking to try and get the better of Hans Andersen. Andersen locks up on the inside. Crump just gets a good run off the 4th bend, but Andersen giving Crump no room, but a big cutback coming from Jason Crump now, really getting over the front of that bike to try and chase down the rider in green. Crump running very wide to pick up the dirt, making a diamond shape in riding this track here. Not an approach that we would normally see here, but the track's slickening off on the inside, so very little dirt on the inside to allow a rider to pick up much more momentum unless the rider in front of him makes a mistake. With just less than a lap to go, Charlie Gjedde in red out front for the Bellevue Aces. Hans Andersen in 2nd place for the Panthers. Jason Crump in 3rd, but Gjedde locks up on the 4th turn, but does enough to take the 3 points for the Aces in Heat 15 for the win, with Hans Andersen taking second place for the Panthers and Jason Crump picking up the final point on offer in Heat number 15. Hans Andersen shaking hands with the two Bellevue riders, and all three riders coming round. Or maybe Hans Andersen just dropping back with the aces, having taken the Heat win. But good to see all three riders coming round. Hans Andersen having a fairly incident-packed Grand Prix at the Millennium Stadium, popping a wheelie for the fans. Always an entertainer, Hans Andersen. Charlie Gjedde, a more sedate wave to the crowd here, but a great performance from the Bellevue Aces to finish the meeting on 52 points to the Peterborough Panthers 41. So a great performance from the Bellevue Aces, and Hans Andersen just allowing everybody to enjoy the pleasure of his wheelies, and Charlie Gjedde also joining in providing a wheelie. I think Gjedde managing to almost do a full circuit of this Kirkham Zoom Lane track on his back wheel there, but the Danes always keen to entertain, and they make their way back to the pits after a great meeting here at Kirkham Zoom Lane.
Charlie Gjedde, 52 points to 41 for the Bellevue Aces. Great team performance tonight. You must be pleased with that.
Yeah, definitely. I'm pleased for that we did that well against Peterborough. It's a meeting we had to win, and I know the Peterborough team they got a few riders. There is normal autumn around this track. They got like Kenneth has had a hard meeting, and of course Hans Morten Risager, he was looking really good. So and that Claus Vissing as well. There was a few riders that was looking good from the start, but we after a few races we seemed to pull away, and they got the Joker in, and we split the two boys up in that as well. I know they had a 7-2, but still it was better than an 8-1. So yeah, I think to look through the whole meeting, we all battled in and did our bit.
You said just a couple of weeks ago that maybe the Aces needed a bit more consistency from the reserves, but Robert Caesar coming in, the Bellevue number 8 coming in at number 6 to replace Nick Simmons. An amazing performance from him tonight.
He looked really good, and he was doing an awesome job for us. I'm happy to see him do that well. You know, he's been doing a few meetings for us this year, and he really showed us today that there is more in him. So yeah, he was looking really good, and I'm pleased for his performance.
With performances like that from the Aces, is it still possible that Bellevue could find themselves in the top 4 at the end of the season and get into the playoffs?
Yeah, if we got ourselves together, and we need to go away and have a few away meetings, win a few away win in our pocket, you know, so we can get the 3 points. And we are struggling a bit away from Bellevue, as we have been as well here. We only been winning by a few points, and you know, it's hard when you not really get it going at home and you're losing away. But it seems to, if you look on the mean tonight, we turned a bit around and did a better job, and hopefully we can go away and do as well as we do at home.
Hans Andersen just missed out on a maximum there tonight, but a really entertaining meeting, and track looking fairly racy.
Yeah, Bellevue's always been a really good track to come to, and personally I really enjoy coming here. But well, I heard from other riders that they had a bit of dirt on compared to previous years, and I watched it on Sky when Ipswich was here to sort of get an idea what to expect. And to be fair, it was really good, and full credit to track staff and everything. Track is the best I'd ever ridden it.
So did it feel a lot different to what it's been in the past few years when it's perhaps been a little bit more slick here?
No, like you said, it's always been good here, you know, in previous years. It's a bit slicker, I should say, but today was really good. It had a bit of dirt on the outside to play with, but you can still go up the inside as well. So ideal Speedway track, a lot different to Saturdays.
I was just going to ask you about that. Pretty tricky conditions on Saturday night, and that not very enjoyable for you, but that spectacular scene that we saw in the super slow-mo camera where you spun round on the home straight, that must have been pretty alarming, to say the least.
Yeah, just a bit, you know, I was hoping I could save it, but I still managed to save it, so I didn't have a big crash, and luckily I didn't take Bjerre out, which was next to me. So all in all, fairly happy. I just think I rode fairly well on Saturday. I was just in the wrong places at the wrong time, and I don't know if I run over 1,000 black cats, because it just seems that every time I'm in front, the heats get stopped.
So you've had some problems in the Speedway Grand Prix, but hopefully that'll come to you. But how are the Peterborough Panthers looking to finish in terms of their position in 2008? Because at the moment you're bottom part of the table and struggling a little bit.
Yeah, we are, but I still think the team is slowly getting better and better. Today we managed, we lacked a bit of support from the other heat leaders. So some of the new boys are slowly coming to feet, getting to terms with the new tracks, and we're getting better. We made slightly team changes, and it's not as difficult as the beginning of the season, trust me.
Kenneth Bjerre really sort of above and beyond the call of duty, riding with that metalwork in his right leg, and how is Kenneth managing to cope with that injury? Because it seems almost unbelievable that he can ride with that kind of metalwork in his leg.
Well, yeah, I broke my thigh and rode a whole season with a pin in like Kenneth myself, so to be fair, you forget about it. I think Kenneth's still in the back of his head though, because he's so quick after his injury, and if you see him today, if people come a bit close to him, he does shut off, and credit to him for riding, but I think he proved his point in Copenhagen in the GP, and I think he should probably take a month, to get a bit more fit. But it's his choice. I just wish he doesn't crash.
A great performance then from the Bellevue Aces, taking the win 52-41 over the Peterborough Panthers. The individual scores for the Bellevue Aces: Jason Crump scored 10 and 1, Charlie Gjedde 14, Billy Forsberg 6 and 2, Joe Screen 11. Great performance at reserve from Robert Cizak, 10 and 3. Eunice Rawn struggling a little bit tonight, just 1 and 1 bonus point from Eunice. For the Peterborough Panthers, Hans Andersen scored 17, Henning Bager 1, Kenneth Bjerre 4 and 1, Claus Vissing 7, Danny King 3, Morten Reisiger, good night for him, 8 and 1, and Andrew Tully 1 point. Great night's entertainment here at Kirkhamzoom Lane on a fairly grippy but consistent track, and some very entertaining racing, which is great to see. Thanks for joining us with Clean Cut Sports. We'll see you again next time.